why don't people make it? Because it isn't just one thing. Like what you say a lot of stuff, like, and I get it, I resonate with it.
Yeah.
But like so many realtors you meet, so many people in wholesaling, so many entrepreneurs.
What's the difference?
Like, but really why?
You know, people look at it, especially like real estate, as a vehicle to get rich.
Right.
And so their motivator is money. The ones that make it, that's just part of their motivator. That's not their main motivator. The money is great. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you get yourself in the right money-making vehicle, your whole life changes. And that's why it drives me crazy when people are like, I'm passionate about guitar and I want to teach guitar lessons. It's like, cool. You want to struggle for the rest of your life. Because the chances of you ever like scaling guitar lessons is like really, really small. It's just a tougher vehicle.
Right.
With real estate, it's the right vehicle. You get tax benefits. You can make big profits on per deal and all that stuff. And people have blazed the trail and done it forever. People have been rich in real estate. You can come from another country, barely speak English, and murder it in real estate and get really rich.
It's easy to replicate.
It's the right vehicle. But if you, perfect example, if you take that immigrant mindset, that desire and will to succeed, that appreciation of being in the right place, like America, where you have laws and rules and mentors and technology and all these things around, they don't take anything for granted. They're so appreciative for being here and having the ability to even do real. They came from Vietnam. They came from overseas where they don't have these opportunities.
Well, that's happened to me, right?
Okay, and that's why you're being successful right now, though. It's your mindset.
Right.
You're not just in it for the money. You're in it to serve at a deeper level. You're in it because you know you're appreciative of how this opportunity has unfolded in front of you. You're in Miami. It's like the greatest place in the world to freaking be. Like the energy, the success. I love Miami because people flaunt their success here, and it motivates the shit out of you.
Way, though, right?
No. I think it is, dude. What's your relationship with money? Right? When I used to make $34,000 a year as a bookkeeper, my relationship with money is different than when I make $8 million in 3 days. It's a different, like I just think differently about money now, and it's just, every single person watching this, we go through the same evolution as me, right? And as you progress, you start realizing like, oh, I used to hold on and like, I had a scarcity mindset when it came to money. Now, as soon as I get it, I'm like trying to fire it out. I'm like, what can I invest in? Who can I pay to become friends? I want to pay Drew. Drew, I want to use your studio. I want to get around you. I want proximity to you because you're so good at creating content. I want some of your secret sauce. Jay, you're one of the best in the world at PR and like thinking about brands and like scaling brands. I need to pay for your relationship for speed.
Right.
It's just a different way of thinking about money. And so when you take the right money-making vehicle and you get your mindset right about winning and you start developing success principles, better habits, you quit the vices, you quit hanging around the losers, you start putting better inputs into your life, over time you start making more and more money. You start realizing, oh shit, I could go real fast now. Yeah. It's a game changer, dude. That poor guitar player, he has it backwards. He needs to go get himself in the right vehicle, develop his skills and capabilities, build his network around him, stay consistent for as long as it takes, never freaking let your eye off of the prize. And that's another thing is when you're only in it for the money, the hurdles, the challenges, the pain, the negative, the haters, all that stuff compounds. Yeah. And if your mindset isn't ironclad, you're gonna quit long before you ever get there.
There's no enjoyment enough of what you do. It's going to be hard to push through those times at the beginning.
Yeah, unless you have a strong enough why. I think if you have a strong enough why, you can get through a lot of it. But
so what's your why?
My why has really just been my family. And you know what's interesting? It's funny you asked me that. I'll get vulnerable with you that I had no why for a long time until about a year and a half ago when I went through a devastating situation with a relationship that failed. And I found my why at rock bottom, right? And leading up to that point, I had made a lot of money, but I blew everything in mortgages. And I blew everything I made. I blew it on partying. I blew it on girls. I blew it on going out. I blew it on all these different things. And I was not ironed in, lasered focused on the why, and more importantly, how I was going to achieve it. Because if you have a strong why, and your why is, I want to buy my parents a home so that they can retire in, blissfulness and not have to be in their late 80s still working, or we're trying to suffer to pay for someone who may potentially have dementia, because we've been through that, right? It's like, if you have the financial stability to be able to afford that, Well, that only comes from busting your ass. That only comes from being consistent. It only comes from having the right vehicle, investing in the right vehicle, branding around the right vehicle, and doing whatever it takes to get through that. And if you have a bad month, you have a bad 2 months, a bad 3 months, if you have a poor financial setback, or like I did, a relationship that goes south, it doesn't have to break you, because your why is stronger than all of those adversities.
Yeah, think about that. Like you take $5 million, which would change most people's lives.
Yeah.
You put it in the middle of a building that has no doors, no windows, solid steel building. And around the building, there's a moat, there's crocodiles. And around that, there's a minefield. And you put snipers in there. And you say, hey, dude, you can have that money. You just got to jump through all those hurdles, those challenges, pain. Just figure out a way to get in there, and you can have it. People aren't going to risk their lives for that money. Yeah. Pull that money out and put your kids in there. Every parent on planet Earth is going to blast through all of those hurdles. They're going to do whatever the frick it takes to get to the kids.
I saw my dad cry for the first time when my dog was about to die, and I never saw my dad spend money that fast for that exact reason.
Didn't even think about it.
My poodle had some cancer or something, and they're like, 40% chance of living. He's like, how much is it? It's like 17 grand. He's like, done. Like, it was not even, He was like, card came out before he said done. So to the point of the story, it's like, there's a lot of truth behind, like, everything just stops until I get that problem solved.
And I think a lot of people, they choose vehicles based on their passion. And I don't know if I always agree with that. I can to an extent, because I chased something that wasn't my passion for so long. But look at where we are now. We're able to do certain things that fit in line with my passion because I was in a vehicle that paid.
Sure.
And that was the full circle is, look, you could still go off and teach guitar to kids and live out your dreams once you go buy 10 houses that are all cash flowing, that are paying themselves off, that produce enough cash flow for you to live a comfortable life and go do your dream.
Exactly.
It's just, there's some steps you got to take before you get to that, the end all be all.
But, well, look, I was a broke entertainer. That was my story. I was a broke entertainer. I was famous. I was talented as a magician, but I couldn't get the clients or the cash flow or the choices until I had to figure out this isn't working. Like this dream of Vegas and dream of a television show. And then when I got a Vegas show, I went and saw everybody in Vegas, and I was like, dude, everyone's just broke. It's just a show.
Wow.
So it's like the passion's there, but I'm like, maybe I'm in the wrong lane. And like I made most of my money the first year in 2021. I never hit $1 million. That's a lot, like $1 million, dude. I remember looking down like, dude, I made $1 million. Like just that feeling. is literally on my Excel spreadsheet. I'm like adding it up like 1,094,000. Like I'm a millionaire. Like that.
It.
Yeah, but you don't. And I struggled to make 10,000 my whole till I was 30.
And you felt an immense amount of pride.
Dude, I was on stages. I was going to celebrity parties.
You know what's funny is when I earned my first $1 million in the industry, I felt immense shame. I didn't feel pride.
Really?
I felt immense shame because
What's the average earner in your industry?
Probably $250,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I earned my first $1 million, I looked back at all the money I blew and all the money I didn't save, and I was deeply shamed because I was like, dude, look at how much money I made. This is embarrassing. I don't even want to tell anybody.
Yeah.
Because I didn't save any of it. I blew it all like an idiot.
Nothing to show for it.
What's the most
things to show for it, but nothing,
of course.
Nothing significant. So I wanted to add on what you were saying, though, is you took those same skills that you developed as an entertainer, you pivoted over to a better lane,
a vehicle, dude,
and you thrive. And when I watch you on stage, I'm like, oh, he's got the it factor that controls the audience, that pulls people forward, that serves them at a deeper level. That's where your magic comes, is you just shift it over.
But isn't that funny? But so many people, I think what you're saying, it's the ego of letting go, the ego of not saying I don't know, and the ego going, maybe like, look, maybe I am a really great, talented singer, but the odds, for me, it was always odds. I was like, dude, you know how many people make a Vegas show happen? You know how many people make it in LA when I went to LA as an actor? Like, dude, even the actors are still like, they fall off and they have to like, it's the 0.1%, the Will Smiths or Robin Williams, those guys. But there are so many guys on TV that like make money. They, bang the girls, get the cars, and then they're working at some sushi restaurant the next month.
Here's
you've met all these guys.
Here's my
these
thoughts
celebrities.
on that, though. If you are truly happy fighting for your dream for as long as it takes in being a waiter while you're trying to get on and you're satisfied there, then do your thing.
Sure.
Do your thing. But if you're negative and a victim and bitching and complaining the whole fucking trip, it's like, now you got to stop.
Yeah.
it's time for you to stop, because this dream's turned into a nightmare for you and everybody around you. And we're all watching. And all you're doing is repelling all the relationships away from you with your negativity.
But dude, you don't want to be the 70-year-old guy still trying to make it.
I mean, there is a limit.
Some guys go to their grave. Look, as you know, some people go to their grave with their emotions and they're like, I don't want to be wrong. They don't, and they won't change. They will literally die.
70-year-olds. There's
like
parts,
still trying to.
There's parts for them too.
Still
Jay.
trying to, but still just trying to crack it. But like, dude, like you really like, and I'm not talking about plan Bs. I'm like, it's like, how do we take? Okay, you're a great actor. You're a great method actor. Why don't we go make 10 grand a month teaching people how to act? Guess what? What you just said. Now you've got the 120 grand a year. You can live on that. It's fine for where you can still be like.
You could afford to still go do.
You can still go do the other
auditions.
things. You know, like get your time right, or get the so you're not like.
Well, there's a lot of people that if they were doing something that they enjoy, they would be okay making significantly less. Yeah. There's some people that are like that. Yeah. Not everybody is built.
We were talking about this earlier when we were filming. It's like the difference between rich and wealthy, right? Like rich is a number.
Right.
Everybody's got a different number of like what that means to them. Like you said, making $1 million in a year, you're rich. You're technically rich, right? You're in that small percentage of people
it's just funny a number that I was like, wow, I never thought like me. You know, like how and why and who and.
But you did it, and it's possible, and you could do it again.
Yeah.
And you could even scale it even further. But the real question is, what's the difference between rich and wealthy? And the answer is, if you stopped working right now, how long could you survive in your current lifestyle?
Yeah, that's a huge problem for me.
That's a huge problem for everybody, because there's a lot of high income earners that we know that if they stop, they don't have the assets. And there's only really two assets that get you there. Either you own a business or you own like cash flowing assets like real estate or something that spits off money, whether you're working or not, like real estate. And so I look at it and I'm going, all right, so the formula is real simple. We got to get rich first, right? We got to make a lot of money very quickly. Got to get in the right vehicle. If you're not in the right vehicle, you're already, like, everything's stacked against you, because nobody wants you to win.
Right.
Nobody's going to roll out the red carpet for your ass. Taxes, the government is rigged against you from a tax perspective, 50%. The more money you make, by the way, when Jay, you made over $1 million, guess what? You owed $400,000. And you probably didn't pay it.
Did you actually, though? Because we
whatever it is.
Listen,
I do mortgages for all of these entrepreneurs in Miami, and nobody is paying taxes. We have to use creative financing for everyone.
We all get stuck.
Talk about that real quick.
We all get stuck. Yeah, we all get stuck.
They just don't pay their taxes, and now they're coming to you saying, I need a mortgage.
Yeah, I need a mortgage.
Yeah, so my first year I made $1.3 million, didn't pay taxes. I did the same thing you did. I didn't think of it like shame. Yeah. I just looked at my tax return and I said, holy shit, I fucking made it. 1.3 million, I'm a baller. And then I looked at my bank account and I go, oh, I got 50 G's. And then the tax bill came and goes, you owe 500,000. And it's like,
with 50 grand in the bank. That's exactly what happened. I kid you not, the exact dollar amount happened to me. I had 50,000 in my savings account, and I had a $390,000 bill due from the IRS. I hired an accountant, and I used that 50K I had to hire somebody.
How much put you on a payment plan?
I ended up walking away with a bill for 120.
Wow.
So we wrote off a decent amount of stuff. I could have written off more, but let's be realistic.
Even
here.
Doing that, though, you're praying not to get audited.
Correct. I mean, if I had gotten audited, it was justifiable.
Sure.
But
dude, I just got audited. They found $70,000 out of thin air, and you got to make a choice, because you don't want to fuck with auditors, because their only job is to find something. Very rarely do they find nothing, right? They're gonna find something, and it's better to give them a $60,000 win than a $260,000 win. So it's like, oh man, I didn't write off my car right. I guess I got to pay those taxes. Jesus. Man, you got me.
Yeah.
Good job, auditor. Can you please move on to somebody else and leave me the fuck alone? Because they start asking, oh, we're auditing you for 2017. Can I see your 2018s, 2019s, and 2016 tax returns, please? And you're like, no. No, you can't. Because I'm not being audited for those years, so you don't have to give your taxes to them. They can only request documents from the year that they're auditing. So you just got to play the game, get audited, pay the fee. They found $68,000 of a Tesla write-off that I didn't do the right way. And anyways, we're derailing. But the point is, you got to play that money. So you have taxes against you. We have inflation against us. Yeah. You have competition against you. Nobody wants to help you. But how do you, so you got to get in the right vehicle. You got to become the best in the world at it. That's the networking, that's the skills and capabilities. That's you devoting all your love and energy into that thing. And as you're making money, you got to live below your means and invest every available dollar that you can into the right assets.
That's the tough part.
Yeah, it is.
It's the hardest part.
That's the tough part.
Living in Miami, it's almost impossible.
It's almost
you see
Yeah.
the Lamborghinis,
Well, that's the thing is-
you see the lifestyle. You can eat at a restaurant and blow through $1,000 like that.
Easy. You live right. He works right above Komodo, so he's dropping.
No,
coin.
dude, you go out to like, I remember going out this dinner with this girl and I didn't know, right? Because, you know, even if you come from Asia or whatever, you're like 100, 820 in for two people. It was like $550.
She was drinking.
We had a couple of drinks and stuff. But I'm like, dude, that is incredible.
She's like, can we get both these appetizers? You're like, let's just pick
And
one.
the app comes
Which
out.
one
it's
do you like
it's
better?
like 2 pieces of
No,
meat this
and
big.
I'm being all Mr. like Casanova, like just like, you know, you order
Whatever you
everything, you
want,
try
baby.
whatever you want. $5.50. And you got to remember, back in the day, the dollar was double for Australians.
Wow.
So every time when I see $5.50, I'm like, dude, that used to be like $1,000 for
insane.
me. Just for like a meal that it's just there. It's not even like, oh, this is the one meal that I've been waiting for a month. It's like, are you hungry? I'm hungry. Let's go for dinner.
Yeah, your dating life's got to get real selective.
Yeah. But let's
Creative.
let's flip
just do a
it.
picnic by the
Yeah.
water.
Oh yeah, you get creative. No, you wake up
Yeah,
the next day like
exactly.
I'm going to like eat lean for the next.
Yeah.
But let's face it. Would you rather this problem or the problem that we don't have the mindset? We're still working at Komodo. That's why I always tell people like, dude, like, yeah, we're all at different stages financially. Like, I'm not worried, man. You know why? Because I'm in this forever. Like, dude, we get to wake up every day, worry about my health, and get to do whatever I want to do. That beats 99% of people, man.
Oh, yeah.
The money part is like, I know it's important, of course, but it's like, there's always going to be money. But like, what about like, I get to wake up and be creative, and we can come here. There's no boss like, hey, get back to work.
On a Monday in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Working out at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
How many people can say that? I have friends that own law firms in Australia. They cannot leave for more than 2 days. They have to be there.
Yep.
They are stuck.
Well, just think about this. Your goal for getting rich might be hit $1 million a year, $2 million a year, $5 million, whatever that number is. But to get wealthy, there is not an amount.
Right.
It's a time. It's how much time can you live doing the things that you want without being stressed
Right.
about money. For some people, that's 7 Airbnbs and they're done for the rest of their lives.
Right.
So it's a very attainable thing if you're in the right vehicle.
Right.
Correct.
Right? It's like, yeah, I got to hustle hard and learn the skills and like put it all together, the systems. But once I have it, you just duplicate it 7 times, get 7 dope Airbnbs that each spit off $5,000, $7,000 a month.
Dude,
And you're done.
You know
300
what?
grand,
You know what's
350.
interesting to talk when you talk about that? It sounds so easy, right? It does.
From a
Let's be
logic
real.
point of view.
From a
yeah.
logic point of view, especially now that we're all in the business and we've all understood how this process works. But as a person who was that guitar player, or as the guy who is bartending at Komodo, they don't know about this stuff,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So for them, it's an overwhelming impossibility that they've not been able to comprehend yet. So they don't even think that it's possible for themselves. So my first part of the question, open floor obviously, would be, what do those people do? And then secondly, when they're in the midst of it, how do they stop from feeling so alone?
It's so simple. First off, we all come to the table with some program. We've been conditioned from birth based on where we grew up, which country we grew up in. I met a guy at the gym yesterday, came from Romania, trying to sell sunglasses, right? Has a little Shopify store, and he was asking me some advice on how to get his sunglass brand out there. And as we were talking, he said something to me. He goes, Cody, I hear the words that you're saying, and it makes so much sense to me. I just need to go and do it. But I'm struggling with what I grew up around and the way I think. And it was like, yeah, you're programmed, dude. You just got to unprogram your beliefs about money, the way you think about networking, the way you think about success, the way you think about relationships. All of that stuff just takes some time by, first off, eliminating all the negative noise. You got to curb all that real hard, and then you got to get around other people that are winning.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say like it's easier. Like isn't that Tony Robbins talks about like our limiting, like our belief system, right? Like what's our belief system? But you can't go to someone at Komodo and says, hey, guess what? I made $2,000 today, and I was just in my pajamas. That to them is like, were you selling drugs? Like it's so you're right. How do you have to get around people and be around this mode? So it's like,
100%.
oh, it's not as hard. It's actually, oh, I get it. Otherwise, they're lost.
And it's easier now than ever with because of
the
online,
internet?
all the groups online and stuff. Back in the day, I used to have to buy a plane ticket, go to an event. It was very expensive. It was very scary. I'm new. I look like I'm 15 years old. I'm rolling into some strange event full of people I don't know. I'm by myself a lot of times because I was so driven to learn real estate. That's how you learn. Now, I go onto Facebook, I join a group, and I show up and I just start interacting. And if I'm consistent enough for a long enough period of time, I become part of the group, part of that culture.
Right.
And you start to watch. Oh, Sarah, stay-at-home soccer mom, just flipped 3 houses. You know, Bob just did his first creative finance deal. And you start to see the wins, and you're like, oh my God, I'm around a bunch of people doing active deal making, and they're all helping, and they're all willing to participate in your success as well because they all can understand that come up.
Absolutely.
It's so easy nowadays.
What I love,
but people don't even take that step.
No, what I love now though is like I love stories like that where it's the person who's like from Iowa that's overweight. That's just like this classic. There's no gift to them, and they're killing it. What's stopping you?
Yeah, I agree.
Like if she can do it, there's no reason why.
Well, I think, one of the points that this gentleman, came up to you and asked you, and that's huge because a lot of people are unwilling to ask. They're afraid to ask.
Right.
The sunglasses guy, So I think having the audacity to be able to ask, to open up your mind and then be in the community like we're discussing now, and then also finding a mentor. And you can find mentors in those groups.
The reality is we're all duct taped together. And if you think about it, it's like you see these successful people. I got problems. I got a lot of problems. Every new level has a new devil. You never are done with problems.
Every new level has a new devil. I haven't heard
think
that
about that.
That's good.
So we're all duct taped together, and we're all walking around with our umbilical cords in our hands, looking to plug into somebody, something, some community, because that's how we thrive. I'm not good enough on my own. I'm good enough when I lock arms with you guys. And then all of a sudden my whole world elevates because I'm doing it to full circle. I'm doing it for something bigger than just myself. I'm doing it for all of us now because we're all watching each other. We're all supporting each other. We're all locking arms. I'm doing it for my kids. I'm doing it for my customers. I'm doing it for my team members that I'm working with. Everything changes when it's bigger than just the money.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'll tell you one thing. And what I really like about Cody the most, and I think I've told you this, is that the level that you are, right, from, let's just take, put your resume, your numbers on paper. He could easily, a lot of guys in business, he could be like, I don't need to talk to you. What are we?
100%.
That's what I like about you the most.
I just thought that when we started this conversation.
But the entrepreneurs, that's one thing. We've all hung out with businessmen. I've been to Dubai and I've been to these places where these guys are big guys. But the entrepreneurial community, it's a different level of...
Well, because there's a respect.
And
I think it's a mutual respect. There's a respect that we have for you as someone who has gone through it. You've pushed through the grind and you've accomplished it, right? And you still have your daily battles. But like you said, every level has a new devil. Right. You're still going through that.
Right.
But then you also have a mutual respect for the young guys.
To help. Yeah,
because you know
help,
what they're about
100%.
to go through.
Yeah.
Or you do know what they're going
I'm
through.
20 years in the game. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to you in 20 years and you're going to be murdering it on such a high level and helping a bunch of people come up. So it's just, I'm just ahead.
Yeah.
But I'm no different.
Right.
Well, that's awesome, man. Good.
All right.
Well, this is a great convo.
This is what happens when you get 3 badasses in a room with some microphones. You just have a dope conversation that's real and raw, so people like you can listen in like a fly on the wall and go, you know what? I feel the same way. And you're going to take a few of these nuggets and then go and do it. That's it.
You know what? One thing that I really love is that as entrepreneurs, being in the positions we're in, with the achievements that we have, and the goals that we're aspiring to, we have these exact same conversations off the camera. Right. So all we're doing is plugging you, like you said, the fly on the wall. That's really what this is, because we were just at lunch having a super deep conversation that I was like, dude, if people were listening to this right now, they would be inspired.
So valuable.
They would be inspired.
Yeah.
And so, I think it's so important to be able to give these to people as gems, to have these conversations. And, you're a mentor to a lot of people. You're a mentor to a lot of people. And there's so much opportunity for growth.
This is why we're grateful for you building out this dope-ass studio that we're in right now. Let's go.
Thank you. All right, guys.
Let's wrap
appreciate it.